Oh, oke oke udah nih. Harus pakai ini apa? Iya.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Okay, good afternoon, class. And before we start our lesson today, much better we pray together and praying start right now. Enough? Okay. How are you today, guys? How about your final exam in the laboratory? Why? Nematode is very, very interesting for you. But it will be hard when you like writing because uh like the name is so difficult to write, right? When you okay, okay, I find it, and I will make this be the point as of our feedback, right? For the future, I think. Okay, today we're gonna talk about veterinary parasitology, and especially we talk about the nematode. What do you know about nematode? Anyone declare some statement?
It's from getting the money earlier.
Okay, exactly, correct. And the other one, good job. And the other one, any else statement about the nematode? I have shared the material, right?
You don't have second. Like you don't have proper things.
Unsegmented. Perfect. Any else? Female? Good. And the other hand, any else statement? Any else answer for you from you?
They have some people are
Cervicale, I see. Good job. Good job. All of you right, guys. So, if you want to describe the nematode, it's like earthworm, right? Earthworm. So the shape of the or the form of this worm is like that. Earthworm. It's not flat like trematode and also chestnut. This is our learning objective. So you should able to accurately describe the terminology of nematodes in ruminants, horse, pig, poultry, pet animals, wild animals, and aquatic that are predilect in the upper gastrointestinal and lower gastrointestinal. So I just give you the material about the nematode that have predilected in the upper gastrointestinal and lower gastrointestinal. Dr. Jessica will tell you about the nematode in the blood and also in the tissue. And you should know about the taxonomy, morphological differences, classification, and life cycle. The material is so many. It is will be so hard for you when you don't know how to learn effectively. So I will give you any trick to learn about the nematode. Okay. This one is the classification. Consists of phylum, class, order or ordo, superfamily, family, and genus. I make this love symbol. It's mean I will give you this material, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And for the blue star here, Dr. Jessica will tell and give you this material. This is for the slide number 1. I'll jump to the second slide, 1, 2. Strong use. Slide number 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And the next slide, 6. Next slide is only 1. No one. And this is the last one, trichuris and capillaria. It's too much or enough for you guys? If you think, oh my God, it's so, I will add if you want. No, it's enough. Okay, this is about the classification or taxonomy. So when you want to find like trichuris have a family, namely Trichuridae, and superfamily Trichuroidae, and the order or order Enoplida. So it make or guide you to find their family, right? So this is about the classification. And now we talk about the general characteristic of the nematoda or nematodes. First thing first, the nematode are commonly called roundworm. Why? They called roundworm. Why?
They tend to like bend like a swirl, so it looks like round.
Yes. It's round. In Bahasa, the term is we using gilik or gelang. You get it? So the name is roundworm. From their appearance in cross section and are parasitic or free living. The next characteristic is majority of the nematode, the sexes are spirit. So there are male and also female. It's not hermaphrodite. Okay. And like what you said before, that the female is bigger than male. Oh, you're correct. The mouth or stoma surrounded by 2 or 3 lips and leads directly into the esophagus. So this one is the um, digestion system, right? From buccal cavity, esophagus, intestine, and the anus, rectum and the anus in the final of the system. Okay, I'll jump to the next slide. So I show you about the morphology, and this one is the sketch of nematodes, and this is the real nematode. Okay, this one is the teeth like this, and this one is the leaf crown. Anterior part of the nematode. This one is the cuticle. What is the cuticle? Cuticle like the skin, yeah, So we can distinguish one nematode from another, and it can be seen from the cuticula. Okay. And this is the part of the cuticula you see here. Okay. not only cuticula, but also esophagus form, uh, it can be for you to distinguish the one nematode and the other nematode. For the ascaridoid worm, the esophagus form is bulb, and the bulb is like in this picture. And for the trichuroid worm, the form of the esophagus is like this picture. And muscular glandular, you see here, this is for the filaroid and spiroid. And double bulb is for the oxyuroid worm. And filariform is for the bursate nematode. So if you talk about the nematode can be spared to be two big groups. First one is the bursate nematode. It means the male have bursa copulatrix. Okay. And the second big group is non-bursate. They have no bursa copulatrix at the male worm. Yeah. So they have this one for the bursate nematode. And the rhabditiform here, the form of the esophagus is rhabditiform. It's present in the parasitic larvae of the many nematode and in adult free-living nematode. So when they live in the free living or in the environment, you will find the adult worm, they have esophagus form like this one. Oh my God. Okay, now in this picture, spicules. Do you know what is the spicule, guys? Copulatory, copulatory organ. Spicule is the male worm genital. So this is for the male to when they like give sperm to the female, so they use this one, spicula. And what is the function of this one, gubernaculum? Spicula is genital organ and the gubernaculum is? I have right here the gubernaculum also. Citrinus is a small structure located in the dorsal wall which act as a guide for the spicule. So when the male and female do a copulation, the spicula will go out and then the gubernaculum will act as a guide. So the spicula can enter to the vulva well, right? Like what I said before, that nematode can be divided to be two big part. First one is bursate and non-bursate. For the bursate nematode, we'll find superfamily Trichostrongyloideae, Strongyloideae, Ankylostomatidae, and this one, Metastrongyloideae, we don't talk about it. Only 1, 2, 3 superfamily. And you can check in here for bursate nematode, Trichostrongyloideae. The genus for the example is the Trichostrongylus, Ostertachia, and so on. And the second one is the Strongyloideae, is Strongylus genus, Zingamus, and so on. Ankylostomatidae like Ankylostoma, and so on. And we don't talk about this one. Non-bursate nematode, you can check one by one here, Rhabditoideae, Ascaridoideae, and so on. And here, for the typical features, buccal capsule small for this one, right? Life cycle direct. Okay, life cycle direct. What the difference between direct life cycle and indirect life cycle? Louder, please. Direct, indirect, need intermediate host. Perfect. So, indirect life cycle need intermediate host, but direct life cycle don't need intermediate host, right? And you see here, infection by third stage larva, or we call it L3. General characteristic for nematode, L3 is the infective stage. So if you learn about the nematode, you should take a focus only for infective stage is that's not L3. It means when they have infective stage L1, L2, you should know it well. Because little or yes, just few of the nematode that have infective stage, it's not L3, right? So you should learn more about that. It's make you be easy when you doing your final exam. I show you about the difference between non-bursate and bursate nematode. For the example is Toxocara. Toxocara is not bursate nematode. So you see here, no ray supporting rays. It's like the finger. Like the finger, it's mean you see here, this is like finger. Okay. And this one is the spicula. But for the non-bursate, they have no supporting rays like in the bursa here. For the example, Toxocara for non-bursate and Haemonchus for the bursate nematode. This is the female worm, and for example, in the Haemonchus. So you have to know about the posterior part of the nematode. This is its mating process. So what is the function of bursa copulative? To to sure. So help the copulation process. So the copulation process will running well. I think that, you know, this one is the female. Oh, sorry. This one is the male worm. And this is the spicule. And this is the vulva. Okay. And the other picture show you this is spicule and this is vulva. This female worm and this one is the male worm. Okay, you answer correctly that the difference between the direct life cycle and indirect life cycle so different because in indirect life cycle they need intermediate hosts, but for the worm that have direct life cycle they don't need intermediate hosts like this one. Okay, and generally general characteristic for the nematode majority they have this one direct life cycle. So please learn more about only indirect life cycle, guys. Okay, the general nematode life cycle is like this. The first step is you will find egg in the feces, and this feces will develop to be larvae. larvae, the first stage of larvae, second stage of larvae, and then um, third stage of larvae. And later on, the definitive host will ingest that one, and then they grow to be L4, L5, and to be adult worm, and they will laying or lays egg in the feces here. This is the general nematode life cycle. Okay. This one is egg found in the fecal fluid. So you know about the difference between cestode, trematode, and nematode. Look at this one. For um for ascarid, this is the nematode, guys. They have thick shell. When they have thick shell, it means they are so hard to destroy. They will survive in a long um last a long time in the environment because they have thick cell. If you give like a disinfectant or anything, it's so difficult to destroy them. And you will find like this one, trichorid, have polar here. And then for the strongyloides, you will find like larva in the egg. And larvae found in the fresh species like this one. You don't find this one in the cestode and also in the trematode. And for this image is the protozoa. I will give you this lesson before you get final exam. Okay, today we're gonna talk about the nematode in poultry, nematode in the fish, and nematode in the pet. Only three animals, right? And for the nematodes in poultry, I just pick one, two, three, four. Why? Because they are so common found in the field. So I give to you. Okay, first thing first is Heterachis or Heterachis gallinarum, the species. Heterachis gallinarum have synonym poultry cecal worm. Why the name is cecal worm? Because the predilection in the cecum. Good job. And the length for the male 7 to 13 millimeters, and for the female 10 till 15 millimeters. So the female bigger than males. And definitive host is a poultry. Intermediate host, they have no intermediate host. Because why? Because the life cycle is direct here. And L2 or second stage larvae is the infective larvae. So you should concern to this one. For the morphology, spicular not the same length in this worm. Okay, take a note for this one. And for the eggs are 80 by 46 microns in size with thick wall and smooth here. So smooth, right? It's not raw, but smooth. But have thick wall. So they can survive in a long time in the environment. Heterarchis. Heterarchis is involved in the bursite or non-bursite nematode. Bursite or non-bursite nematode. Okay, you can find in this slide, right? So heterarchies. So when you want to find heterarchies, you should look in this taxonomy or classification. Okay, Trichostromiloides. You don't find that worm here. Okay, you go to the next slide. No Heterarchis here. This one, I can find it. And now I got it. Heterarchis, Heterarchidae, superfamily Ascaridoidae, Ascaridida. So they are ascaridoid. Ascaridoid have bursate or not? You can check this one in this slide. Okay, ascari here. So they are non-bursate nematodes. Okay, we jump to the Heterarchis again. So I just want to ask you, when they have no bursa copulatory, so which one or which part that support the copulation or yes, copulation or mating process? Good. You are so smart, right? Because I give you clue here, pre-cloacal sucker. So when they do like a copulation or copulation or mating, so this one, this part, pre-cloacal sucker will help the male to attach to the female. Okay, and this is it for the spicula, and they have no the bursa or supporting rays like the finger. This one is the life cycle. You see here that when the adult worm lays egg in the feces, and feces will contaminate the environment, and the eggs will um develop to be egg that have larvae here, and then the definitive host will ingest this infective egg, and the infection will occur in the definitive host. And you should know that the Heterarchis gallinarum is the vector for protozoal parasite, Histomonas melagritis. So this very, very danger infection for the poultry. I have told to you that Heterarchis is direct, but what is it? Earthworm. So this is intermediate host or not intermediate host. So what is the rule of the earthworm here? As parathenic host. Okay. What is a parathenic host? What is the difference between parathenic host and intermediate host? You can read here, right? As a host in which development does not occur. Okay. But intermediate host, the eggs will develop to be the next stage. But for parathenic host, uh, development does not occur. And you should know about this one, the prepatent period. What is the prepatent period? Prepatent period is the time between the initial infection of a host by a parasite and the point at which the parasite can be detected. This one. So when I describe or explain to you, I don't know. Anyone have a board marker? No. It's okay. If you don't have, okay, it's okay. Okay. Okay, I'll try my best one. So the time between when the egg or or larvae ingest to the definitive host, this is the start of the period. Let's start here till you find worm egg in the feces. So this time is namely pre-patent period. You get it? The, the time or the period start here when the definitive host ingests the egg or larvae or infective stage of the worm until you will find the worm egg in the fecal for the first time, namely pre-patent period. You get it? So the pre-patent period, it's very crucial for you as a veterinarian when you want to give treatment to the host, definitive host that have a worm infection or helminth infection. So uh you can make a decision when you treat the host and when you retreat the definitive host using this pre-patent period. You get it? Okay, thank you. I'll jump to the next slide. We're gonna talk about the Ascaridia galli here. So they have a similarity, guys. So please give a focus in this slide. For the length, male around 75 millimeters to 120 millimeters. Definitive host is poultry, especially and predilection in the small intestine. Direct life cycle for this worm. And L2 or L3 is the infective larvae. Spicule are the same length, but Heterarchis is not the same length. The form of the egg is very similar between Ascaridia and Heterarchis. So in this picture is the egg of Ascaridia, guys. They are so similar, but egg Heterarchis or Heterarchis egg smaller than Ascaridia. This one. So the spicule are the same length here, yeah. And posterior sucker to support copulation process in this worm. Okay, this is the life cycle from egg with L1 and then they will grow to be egg with L3 and earthworm as the parathenic host, and the earthworm can be engaged to this poultry or chicken, or the chicken eat with the L3. This is the life cycle of the Ascaridia, and the pre-patent period is about 4 till 8 weeks. And when you infield and you do necropsion or do a necropsy, you will find like this one. It's like a noodle, or when you eat mie ayam. So the form is like this one. Okay, this is the immune system for helminth. Our body have system immune. What is this immune system? Because you have got immunology, right? So I just ask you, what the meaning of the antibody? What is the antibody? Fight Antigen, good. Any else? Nobody know? You don't know. Confused about the immunology. It's too hard to learn, right? So difficult. Immunology. So when you learn about the immunology is very, very um make me be happy. Why? Because that is my major in my master degree, right? And when you learn about the immunology, you should know about the innate immunity and also adaptive immunity. And for the innate immunity, you will learn about the basophil, eosinophil, NK or nuclear killer cell, and what else? Mac, mac, macrophage, and then dendritic cell. So many that you will find in the innate immunity because they are not specific. But the specific one is the adaptive immunity. Specific or non-specific. What's it mean? What do you know about this? This is a specific system immune. Is not specific immune system. What the difference? So, good job. Thank you very much for your answer. So the difference between innate and adaptive, innate have like unspecific because all antigen, it's mean virus, bacteria, protozoa, or the other parasite, they will destroy them. But for the specific in the adaptive immunity, they just specific for so they only kill or destroy on the specific virus. Okay, so this is the different. And in this adaptive immunity, you just learn about two cell-mediated immunity and antibody. Antibody come from cell B, good job. And cell-mediated immunity from cell T. Cell T, the organ that produce cell T is no cell T, like the name T. Thymus, good. And about the cell B, so cell B produced by bone marrow, good job. And why I hate this class because you don't have this board marker, right? Cell B. It's okay, it's okay, it's okay. I'll try my best. Cell B, cell T, cell or T cell, yeah. Cell B will change to be immunoglobulin or we call it anti anti antibody. But cell T change to be TC or cytotoxic T cell. Okay. And immunoglobulin, they just can destroy the antigen in the circulation, blood circulation. They can kill or they can destroy antigen when they go inside the cell. I don't know how to explain to all of you guys because you don't have North America, right? Okay. Thank you very much.
I will explain you slowly, guys, like this one. This one is adult Ascaridia galli. This is this worm. So when this one is antigen, right? So when the antigen attached to the mucus or mucosa of the intestine, our body will fight them because they are antigen. Our body will respond this antigen. Sorry, this one is antigen with first thing first. The macrophage will do their role as a antigen presenting cell, and then they will present the antigen here, antigen protein. So from this one and the second one, the macrophage will show if in this body we find there are so many antigens. So they just present or tell the body that they find the antigen here. And after that, they send the information to the T helper, T helper 2, to produce or to inform the B cell via the interleukin-5 and also interleukin-4. So they are the signal. Like when we to calling it a smartphone, we need signal, right? So in this one, in this explanation, that signal is the interleukin and interleukin-4 and interleukin-5. And after that, this one, interleukin, will tell to the B cell to produce or to change proliferation become immunoglobulin, and immunoglobulin will send here to make this worm die or inactive. But unfortunately, humoral immunity, so humoral immunity is antibody, right? So humoral immunity is the antibody, does not provide protection. So which part that can protect our body or host body from this one, from this worm? They are is the eosinophil. 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 Oh my God. Eosinophil is the innate, right? It's not adaptive immunity. They will produce helmintotoxic, toxic for helmin, to make this worm be die. This is the immune system for helmin or for worm in the host body. Okay. Okay, I jump to the next slide. This about the Tetrameres americana. I have this one. Uncommon character. Why? Because the male is bigger than female. Take note, guys, because this is very important for you. Intermediate host is insect like cockroaches, grasshopper, and beetles. Definitive host in poultry and predilection in the proventriculus. They have indirect life cycle, and third stage larvae is the infective larvae. For morphological, for the female is round and reddish, but for the male, slender and pale white. Why? The female worm have reddish color. Why? Because Nobody know? Because they are blood sucking. So it make their color become reddish. And the prepatent period is 7 till 8 weeks. And this is the life cycle. They are indirect because need intermediate host. Okay. Okay, this is about the Tetrameres americana. And this one is the picture explain to you the Tetrameres here. This is female or male? Male or female? Reddish. Female. And this one is male. Why? Male worm is not reddish color. They have no reddish color because they don't sucking or sucking blood worm. This is the egg of the Tetrameres. Okay, next. This is the last worm in the poultry. I just pick four species in this lecture, guys. Capillaria annulata. Okay, the common name is hairworm. Why the name is hairworm? It's right here. Good job. Like this one. So I show you here. Okay, and the length is for the male 15 till 25 millimeters, and for the female 10 till 50 millimeters. And intermediate host is earthworms. So this earthworm is intermediate host, guys. It's not parathenic host like in the Ascaris and also in the Heterarchis. Predilection in the Esophagus and in the crop. In direct life cycle, and L1 is the infective larvae. Morphological for the mealworm, they have single spicula. Here, this is the spicule, only one, and long. Okay, and for the egg size, 30 by 70 micrometers with a thick shell, two polar plug, and contain a single cell. And this is the life cycle of the Capillaria annulata. And for the prepatent period, it's around 1 to 2 months. Okay, now we talk about nematode in fish. I just pick one species here, namely Anisakis simplex. I believe that you don't get it in the practicum. Yeah, so I show you about the micro, this picture, morphology of this worm. You find this one, ventriculus. What the function of the ventriculus, guys? Anyone know? No one know? Ventriculus is a digesting system. It's like gastric. Okay. And you will find this one, tooth or boring tooth, and mucron. This one is the anterior part of this in this worm, and this is this posterior part of this worm. You will find mucron. What the function of the mucron? To attach in the tissue. Help the nematode attach to surface or host which is particularly important for parasitic species during feeding or reproduction. That is the function of the mucron. And for the tooth here, or some literature call this one is boring tooth. It's allowed the larvae to penetrate the tissue. Here. Host intermediate is crustacean. I show you here, guys. This is the intermediate host. You find crustacean here, squid, fish, when they ingest or feeding this crustacean. And after that, human can be infected because of they consume raw or inadequate processed L3 contaminated fish or squid. Okay. For the marine mammals like dolphin, seal, they will infect if they eat, ingest this one, intermediate host. And when the worm will be the adult worm, they will lay egg here and hatch in the environment and become a free-swimming larvae, and this larvae will ingested by crustacean. This is the life cycle, indirect life cycle of the Anisakis simplex. Anisakis simplex is a foodborne zoonotic parasite. So be careful on this Anisakis simplex worm. Okay, this is the immune system for human when they fight the worm. Use eosinophil. So as a veterinarian, when you have a patient that have indicate the definitive host like cat, dog, or poultry, when you diagnose they got parasite or parasite infection or helminth infection, you should check it from the blood, from their blood, and you should know about the eosinophil level. When they are so high, it means probably they have helminth infection. Okay, this picture. So this is the endoscopy in the human intestine. So when they infect by this worm, so many were in this intestine like this A and B picture, guys. And this is the for morphology of the Anisakis simplex in the anterior part, and this one is in the posterior part. You find mucron here, and this is anal opening. Anal opening. Okay, you can read in this part because I have give you in this slide. Okay, and this is boring teeth. This one is mucron. Okay, it's finished. And this is the last part of this lecture. So we're gonna talk about the nematode in pets. For the first one is Ankylostoma caninum. Ankylostoma caninum have a synonym name. The synonym is hookworm. Why the name is hookworm? Good. They have like a hook in the anterior part of in this worm. And the length is 10 to 12 millimeters for the male, and for the female 14 till 16 millimeters. And definitive host is the cat and also dog. And life cycle is
direct life cycle. L3 as the infective stage of this worm. For the morphology, they appear stiff, have gray or reddish in color because the intestines contain host blood. The predilection in the small intestine and for the pre-patent period is 14 days. Route of transmission, it can be peroral, percutaneous, and transmammary. This image show you how this definitive host route of transmission via peroral. So when the dog or definitive host ingest or eat the rat or paratenic host with the L3 within their body, so they will be infected, right? And after that, the larvae come to the mucosal of the intestine, and after that they grow to be adult and lay egg here. That is the first root in the peroral. And for the percutan, so when they become third stage of larvae, they will go to the cutan or to the skin and then go to the somatic cell and they will dormant or yes, dormant in the larvae in the tissue. They will sleep in this part. But how can they infect the pup? So when the female is pregnant, hormonal system is work. So this system or hormonal system make the larvae here be active and then go to this mammary gland and will be fine or you will find larvae in this milk. And this milk can make the pup to be infected because of the larvae in the milk. So this is the namely transmammary route. Okay. And this one is the picture of this worm. Have a reddish color. Why? Because they are a bloodsucker worm. Be careful, guys, because they can infect you as a human via cutaneous larva migrant. So this is the life cycle, and when the egg it hatches and to become rhabditiform, and then rhabditiform become filariform, this filariform larvae can infect you by cutaneous larva migrant here, and in your skin, the larva is live. So when you go to the hospital and go to the field that's so dirty and so many case of this nematode, please using your protection, or we call it APT, right? I don't know, APT in English. What is it? Protection, personal protection equipment. So it make you be safe because when you got it, it's very, very make you be discomfort, right? Because there are so many larvae in your body. And I'll tell you how the root inside the host, definitive host here. First thing first, the larva penetrate the skin and are carried through the blood vessels and then to the heart and then to the lungs. And after that,
They penetrate into the pulmonary alveoli, scan the bronchial tree to the pharynx. What the function of the pharynx? You know, larynx, pharynx. What the function of the pharynx, especially for 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 food. Good job. Okay, and larynx, especially for breathe. Okay, so when this antigen here in the pharynx, they can be they are swallowed, and the larva reach the small intestine where they reside and mature into adults. Okay, this is the explanation when they root in the definitive host. This is the picture of the egg of the Ankylostoma caninum. They have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 blastomeres. Okay, and this one is for Toxocara canis, Toxocara Toxascaris leone. But I don't tell you about this one, okay? What is this form? Hur? Bursa kopu? Okay, and this is the why? Because Ankylostoma, they are bursate nematode. So the male worm have a bursa. This is the marginal teeth here. I believe that you know about it in the practicum. Okay, now we jump to the Toxocara. Toxocara in the pet, the famous worm is the Toxocara canis and also Toxocara cati. Toxocara canis commonly find in the dog, and for Toxocara cati commonly find in the cat. Okay, the first stage, egg paste in the feces from the infected animal, right? And then this an embryonal eggs become developed to be embryonate egg with three-stage larvae or L3 larva. And after that, for the dog or for canis, they need infective stage in L3. But for Toxocara cati, they need L2. So L2 for the Toxocara cati and L3 for Toxocara canis. And after that, this embryonic egg with the infective larva will ingest by parathenic host. And this parathenic host can be ingestion of the can be ingested by this definitive host. Or human can be infected by this Toxocara if they ingestion of it, okay, or they eat this parathenic host, and they will got larvae migrate in tissue. Okay. Bateraiku mau habis. Bentar ya, bisa saya tinggal dulu untuk ngambil charger. Kalau pakai laptop salah satu dari normal.
Okay, I'll continue, guys. So this one is the pulsa coprolatic, and this one is the spicu, and this is the marginal tip that you have got from the practicum activity in the laboratory, guys. And okay, sorry, yeah. Oh, okay. For Toxocaracati and Toxocaracanis is in this part, right? Okay. For the cati, commonly transmammary root that we find in the field. But for canis, especially via prenatal or prenatal
It's not Transmari, but possibly Transmamari too. And you can write here the root when they live in the within the definitive host, like this one. When the dog have less than 3 months in age, their root will cross to the enterohepatic, pneumotracheo, and trach migration occur. But for dog more than 3 months in age, they have special root. So please to read this point because it's very important for you. This is a different of morphology, Toxocara cati and also the Toxocara canis. You have got it in the practicum activity in the laboratory. So I don't repeat to explain it. And you should know about the pre-patent period for Toxocara canis. It's around 14 to 28 days. And for the Toxocara cati, it's typically around 56 days. And this is the last part of this lecture, Trichuris fulvis. So Trichuris fulvis has common name whipworm. Why the name of this worm is whipworm, guys? Anyone know? It's like whip. Okay. I'll show you about this one. Anterior is filiform shaped and posterior is thicker than anterior. So this one is the posterior and this one is anterior. You see here the month. For the predilection is in the large intestine, and for the infective stage is in the larvae or the first stage of larvae here. Prepatent period is around 3 months. And this is the life cycle. It's very easy for you because is direct life cycle without intermediate host. Okay, this is the life cycle. I show you about the root in environment, but within the body's root, you can read in this part. Okay, and you can see this one is the shape of the egg. If you see in this egg, what a similar egg like this one have plug. Trichuris and they have a similar form of egg. Trichuris and good capillaria, excellent. And this one is the form of the worm. Okay. I think that's enough from me. That's all. And if you have any question, please raise your hand and ask to me. Nobody? Nobody? Are you get it or don't know anything about my lesson, guys? Why? Because I don't know. When I when I check your score in the UAP, oh my god, I'm crying, guys. Why? Uh, I'll show you. Now, the third semester and fourth semester, it's very hectic semester in the faculty in the FKH, right? But after that, it's not hectic anymore. Like through the efforts method. So please be the stronger student to learn so many material that you should know. Okay, that's it. And thank you very much for having me. And I will see you again in the next weeks in the nematode 2. So in the nematode 2, we gonna talk about the nematode in pig. I forget. Pig, horse, ruminant, and wild animal. Thank you very much, and I hope this material useful for you. And wabillahi taufiq wal hidayah. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon. Thank you. Thank you. Ini gimana? Just end. Okay.